All right, what is up, y'all? So I had a good friend ask the other day for his mother. She doesn't have a problem falling asleep. She has a hard time staying asleep because she wakes up shortly after falling asleep and then she can't get back to sleep. So if this is something that's happening to you or it ever has, or you want to prevent it from happening, then check this out. So to stay asleep after falling asleep, we have to figure out, we need an understanding of why this is happening and why we don't stay asleep, and then what we need to do about it. So in my experience working with people for the past 10 years, and all my learnings and understandings from all the different sleep experts out there, there's three main reasons that contribute to not staying asleep after falling asleep. The first one is that we're not doing the things that we need to do to set circadian rhythms and have good quality sleep. The second thing is we have too much stimulus before going to bed. And the third thing is we have too much on our minds when we go to bed. So let's first talk about the circadian rhythms piece, all right? So to improve sleep duration and quality, there's a few things that we need to consider at a bare minimum, and they're also extremely powerful. The first one is that we want to have some consistency with our bedtime and rise time, meaning that we want to go to bed at about the same time most nights, and we want to get up at about the same time most mornings, and that will habituate our body to certain bed and rise times so that it can expect when to sleep, and it can expect when to initiate those sleep processes. Now, in addition to consistency with schedule, we also want to mimic the day during the day, meaning we want to be outside, we want to be awake, we want to be alert and doing things. And then in the evening, we want to mimic the night, meaning that we want to make things dim and dark and cool and minimize our stimulus. So if we are, at home in the evening, getting ready for bed, it's a couple hours before bedtime, and we're watching television, we're on our cell phones, we're on our computers, then that bright light mimics the light that we might be getting outside. It's definitely brighter than what we'd experience from an evolutionary perspective. And so this can delay our natural melatonin secretion by 2 to 3 hours. Also what plays into this is just having poor sleep habits in general. So not just watching television or being, in the presence of some brightness in the evening, but also just having the TV going and having a radio going or something along those lines as we're sleeping, because that unconscious noise is actually contributing to some of our mind activity. So the first thing that we recommend to help you minimize the stimulus before bed and to help you get ready for bed and maybe even implement a bedtime routine is to set up an alarm on your phone for about 1.5 to 2 hours before bedtime. Now, when you see this alarm go off, no matter where you are or what you're doing, at an unconscious level, you're giving your body this embedded command to start to wind down and get ready for bed. So just imagine, no matter where you're at, you see this alarm on your phone, you can't unsee it. So you've basically just told yourself you got to start getting ready for bed. Now also, by seeing this alarm, you have this window of opportunity to start to do some things that will help you facilitate some good quality sleep. And think about it like this. Sun is a signal of warmth and activity in daytime, and no sun or no light is a signal of coolness, and it's a signal of sleep. So what we want to do within that 2-hour period is start to think about minimizing our stimulus and kind of toning things down. Okay, so now that you've got this time blocked out of about 1.5 hours and 2 hours before bedtime, to help work with the mind activity that might be contributing to not sleeping well, we have this awesome evening journal exercise that we recommend experimenting with. So a lot of times, most of us are not alone with our thoughts unless we have a dedicated meditation practice until we lay down and go to bed. And it's very challenging to turn off our minds. Or we might be tired and exhausted from the day, which means we may be able to fall asleep, but we still take that residual thought activity with us when we go to bed. All right, so about 30 minutes before bedtime, you want to sit in a quiet place, and you want to do this away from the bedroom. You don't want to do it in bed because you want your body to associate the bed with sleep. And ideally, you're using a paper notebook versus a computer or a cell phone. And the first thing you want to do is just reflect on the day and the wins that you had over the day. What were the best things that happened over the day? What were some important concepts or realizations that you want to take with you into the future? And just bullet point those things down. Next, you want to write down everything that you want to accomplish tomorrow and the things that are weighing on your mind. So you can start with your mundane tasks and to-do list. You can also list out those things that you've been meaning to do but you haven't gotten around to. Basically anything that pops in your mind, like someone that you've been meaning to reach out to or some to-do thing that you just have never gotten done. And then also you can write down the things that you've always wanted to do and the places that you've wanted to go. And then finally, I think super important is to acknowledge the things that are weighing on your mind. So a lot of times if we wake up in the middle of the night and we have something on our minds, it's something that's kind of stressing us out. It's been weighing on our minds and bothering us for a little bit. And sometimes it's extremely useful just to get that down on paper and acknowledge what it is that's bothering us. Now, when we do this, there's an implied solution to it to some degree, and your unconscious mind will work on that solution in the background. But getting it off your unconscious mind and down onto paper seems to be super useful for most people. And I think what's important to understand with this piece of the journaling exercise is that you're not expected to come up with solutions. You're just writing down the things that are on your mind. Now, then you want to give yourself some time alone with your thoughts as you've got all this stuff down on paper. And you could say something to yourself like, I'm done with my day and whatever is not done can wait till tomorrow. And you can say it to yourself and really believe it, because that is the truth. And then for your remaining time, you can do something relaxing like reading or coloring or working on a puzzle or tying knots, or you can have a cup of tea or a cup of bone stock. And then as soon as you start to feel tired and feel those yawns coming on, like you'll know when it's time, then that would be the time that you want to climb into bed. And then you want to do the same process every night, starting over fresh. And then remember, when you go to bed, you want to make sure that your bedroom is nice and cool and dark. You want to make it as cool and dark as possible, because no sun equals darkness and it equals coolness, which is a signal for the body to go to sleep. And if by chance at some point during the evening you do wake up and your mind starts to race again, then you can just remind yourself that you've gotten the important stuff down on paper and the day is over and all this other stuff can wait till tomorrow. And what you might notice is by the time you wake up in the morning, because you've listed all this stuff down on paper and you've acknowledged the things that are bothering you, sometimes you wake up and what you thought were problems aren't problems anymore, or you have some kind of a epiphany or solution to what you thought was a problem. Something else to consider that might be contributing to your sleep problems is if you're having alcohol too close to bed, because alcohol may make you feel like you're getting a little bit more tired, but it actually impairs your body's ability to go into deep sleep because it keeps your heart rate up. And then also even eating too close to bed can contribute to waking up in the middle of the night, because if you eat too close to bed, then your body's trying to digest food as you're sleeping, and some of that digestive process could wake you up. And then if you'd like to try some experimental supplementation, there's a couple products that I love from Biotics that we sell. One is Alpha Theta Ultra PM. It's a combination of melatonin, 5-HTP, and then there's some proven botanicals that help facilitate sleep, like passion flower and lemon balm and skullcap. And then there's a little bit of L-theanine in it. And then we also have your standard melatonin product, but it has melatonin plus a little bit of B6 and some magnesium, which are cofactors for utilizing melatonin. If you're going to do just the melatonin, we recommend 3 to 6 milligrams per evening just before bed.